Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Shabbir Lakha from Counterfire. We're very pleased to be joined by Sama Jaber, who's a Palestinian British activist who's been involved in the Palestine Solidarity Movement and who was recently in the West Bank. Um, I wanted to ask you, Sama, we've seen in the last few days that Israel has begun a massive military operation, as they're calling it, in the West Bank. With huge amounts of destruction and arrests and all the rest of it. And I wanted to ask you kind of, yeah, what you know about what's happening at the moment.
Uh, well, probably what everyone else knows, because what is happening at the moment over there, that not much of a media coverage. No one can access the scenes of what's happening. So I've seen a few clips on the media saying that the hospital has been surrounded. I've seen the bulldozer destroying the infrastructures. One of the first things that they did in the Jenin camps and in North Shams is cut off water and electricity, which is a war criminal, a war crime to start with. So, and the other thing that I've realized on my visits, one of the reasons that I can't communicate with people online, and all my friends and relatives said to me, we can't even comment or press like on anything that we do in the UK or internationally, because everything is monitored. And something like putting a heart on something that I'm doing, or posting saying that, we're trying to do something here in the UK, that could sentence any of them to a minimum of 6 months in prison, with the destruction of, their family, their career, anything you can imagine, just by pressing like on any posts. So at the moment, we're not seeing anything on social media, not much. Some people are trying uh, discreetly uh, to put things out, but it's really, really horrific level of oppression that is taking place on the ground. I've spent a little over 2 weeks over there. Uh, I couldn't understand, I couldn't comprehend the level of trauma that is happening on the ground. I was born there and lived there for 27, 28 years throughout the first Intifada and all the what the Israelis did. And I thought I could understand what's happening. I came back and I'm still, I've been back about 3 weeks now, and I'm still trying to work out what have I witnessed, with my family in Ramallah, with my friends. I thought, yeah, we are safe. Uh, we're existing. That's the word that it's quite often used rather than that we're living. We're alive, like it's a literal translation of Arabic. We're just alive. We're existing. That's all I can get out of them. But visiting them and seeing, I seriously can't understand how we're allowing this to take place. So what's happening now in the north of the West Bank? Uh, how can I put it into words? It's yet again uh, an extension of the genocide that's taking place in Gaza. It's the same thing, it's the same intention that started on the 8th and the 9th of October, when they said we're gonna cut off water, electricity, and food. It started in the West Bank. It started on the 8th of October over there, but it started on, you know, back in 1948, where the control of everything. I'll give you a quick example of how it's been there. Uh, One of the main things that you struggle there, that at my age, I have to check with my mom during my visit, when am I allowed to take a shower, because there is not enough water for people to survive. So we get a running water once a week. Quite often, the 2 weeks that I spent there, three of my relatives' household did not get water because the pressure wasn't strong enough for the water to go up on top of the building. So they had to go and buy water on the black market at a very, very expensive cost just to fill up the tank for their kids to shower and for them to wash clothes and stuff like that. So this is just a small, small thing that people are living with at the moment. Uh, as I said, I was shocked. I knew there's bad things, but I couldn't understand. Like 2 weeks, I couldn't leave Ramallah at all. I couldn't travel. I couldn't go to, I wanted to visit Nablus, Jenin, any of these areas. My brother is a salesman, and he used to go around all these areas last year, but this year he's like, no, you're not going anywhere. I was like, what do you mean? He said, I'm not traveling. I am not doing any work. I am not taking any risk. And I said, what do you mean? He said, roads are literally full with these lunatic settlers that they will attack anyone at any time of the day. He said to me an incident, there was a settler standing in the middle of the road and just harassing every car, smashing every car, just waiting for anyone to react so they can open fire and start shooting anyone and everyone that goes past them. The stories are, oof, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely horrific. No, and thanks for telling us. I mean, I guess my next question is why do you think Israel has launched this operation? But I guess particularly on Jenin, but also Nablus and Tulkarem and elsewhere at the moment. Like why, yeah, what do you think is behind it?
I think it's becoming clear to the whole world what we've been saying for the last 80 years or even 100 years. The entity of the Zionists in the Middle East, in Palestine, is there to ethnic cleanse the land. They don't want anyone who is non-Jewish, and I'm using Lord Balfour words in his declaration, in the Balfour Declaration, non-Jewish. He couldn't even use the Palestinian name. And that's their plan. We've been saying this since the 40s. We said it loud so many times. We said it peacefully. We said it in so many different ways on so many platforms. People, I don't know, did not believe. Uh, I still don't believe that a genocide is taking place, and we're allowing it. As an educator in the UK, I teach my students, uh, the horror of the Holocaust, the horror of the Second World War II, and what have we learned from it, all these human rights convention, all the United Nations, and all that stuff. And at the moment, I'm like, why am I teaching my students this? This is something, yes, that we pretended for the last 80 years, that we have all these human rights laws. Like yesterday, I was just researching, we're doing a rally tomorrow for the start of the academic year, because now Gaza, this is the second academic year that's been cancelled or it's been voided from the whole history. 500,000 people, student children, 20,000 being killed, brutally killed. How many schools have been bombed? There is no schools left. There is no universities left. And I'm thinking like, okay, let me look at the Article 26 of human rights. But I started reading from Article 1, and I'm like, okay, Israel violated 1, 2, 3, 4, and I kept going and I was just like shocked. I think there was one, I think Article 22, I can't remember exactly what it is, that still haven't violated. I was like, how is this even allowed? They're intentionally, they're saying in public, their foreign minister just said 2 days ago, we're going to do in the West Bank what we did in Gaza. That's intention. It can't get any clearer what they're doing. they're gonna start, and we knew that it's gonna happen. They've been talking about it. A lot of people being like, "No, they're not gonna do it. No, they're not gonna do it. They can't do it." But it's like, actually, they can, and we're enabling them. I'm sorry, I'm using we as the Western, as the UK government, as the American government, as the German government, as these capitalist imperialists that are literally the founder and the carer for this entity in the Middle East, that they are enabling, the killing of 5 million people, and no one is saying stop. So that's their plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I saw today that the UK government has put out a statement saying that it is concerned about what Israel is doing. How much should we value this concern?
Seriously, it's I uh yeah, I'm gonna choose my words carefully here because the time of being concerned is way gone. The time of condemnation is way past, way, way past. We're starting nearly 11 months of this genocide. And if you seriously believe in human rights, especially our current, one of which that in the last, week and 2 weeks, three activist journalists have been arrested under the Terror Act, you know, uh, two activists again from Bal Action. They were arrested, I think, 3 weeks ago under the Terror Act for conspiracy uh, charges and all that stuff. So I can't imagine, I really can't understand this guy, what kind of he was, because it looks like he's one of these, using my words as well, trying to be diplomatic about this, but he's just an absolute waste of space. Everything that he's saying, I don't think anyone believes what he's saying. I followed him. I'm a Labour supporter for the last 23 years in the UK. I've been a Labour supporter all my life. And I'm looking at this person and I was like, you're nothing to do with Labour. You're nothing to do with even the British value that I am teaching my students. Like one of the things that we teach at schools is how to be a British, what we call a British value. And everything that I am teaching is actually break. He's against everything that is British at the moment. And to come out and say, we are concerned when the United Nations, when the highest court, the IC, the International Court of Justice, declared that the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza is illegal and Israel should dismantle the settlement and leave. And you're saying now you are concerned. What is concerning you? I can't understand. I'm concerned that I might miss the bus, so I'm going to leave a bit early. That's a concern. When you see, the level of brutality, the level of killing of children, when I watch fathers collecting their babies by weight because they couldn't identify any of the kids, that's not a concern. If you're not outraged, if you're not jumping up and down and going up to this lunatic called Netanyahu and his group, the whole entity, and just stamp on it and say, look, you're the mad dog and you need to stop and leave now and dismantle this entity because it is gone beyond like any humanity that we had inside us is gone. Everything that we believe in as a British society is being broken over there, and we're still saying, oh, I am concerned. What are you concerned about? 50% of the Israelis on the latest poll support the vile raping of prisoners. Is that what you're supporting? Is that who you're giving weapons to? 50% of the population support that. When that happened, I was actually in Ramallah, and I was watching, on the news and on social media, and I was like, I can't understand, I can't believe that this is actually happening. And at a point, the wife of that animal soldier who was on social media, and he's now being treated as a celebrity on Israeli medias, his wife came to defend him for committing a rape and killing a man and children. What kind of society, what kind of humans are we dealing with? Because I don't call them humans. Anyone who calls for the rape of any other human, for me, is not a human. These are red lines for everyone. So, yeah, I think Keir Starmer and all these, uh, I'm not going to call them politicians because they are not, they're professional politicians. Literally, they're coming in, make money, follow something or the guidance that is being given to them. They have no backbones. They can't make their own decisions. The David Lammy that I used to listen to all the time on media, and the way he was condemning before he became, you know, our foreign minister and all that stuff. And I was like, what happened to you? The Keir Starmer 2 years ago. Oh, no, actually, yeah, 2 years ago, when Rishi Sunak was talking about taking the winter fuel of pensions, he was on how disgusting pensioners. 1 month he's in power, and he's reversed that, and he's taking the money out of the weakest and most vulnerable. I'm sure he's concerned about all these people.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I guess just my last question is, what do you think is kind of next for the movement here? Obviously, we've had this massive movement, erupt in solidarity with Palestine. We've had something like 18 national demonstrations and protests all over the country. Um, yeah, what do you see is next for us to do to kind of keep up the pressure and so on?
That's a very good question because uh, the solidarity of the British people, and I see it day in, day out. I'm getting on the trains, I'm walking down any roads. The minute they see the kufiyya, the minute they see, or anything that identify with Palestine, I would say 99% of the time we get the thumbs up, free Palestine and all that kind of stuff, which is really, really immense, and it's appreciated back home. All the messages that I got speaking to people, that we see what you're doing and we understand and we appreciate what you're doing, and, you're supporting us is really highly appreciated. But I think it comes at a time at the moment, especially with this genocide, that we we need to step up. Something else activists at the moment that we're not doing enough. Witnessing a genocide is something, because this is something that we always looked at. It's like, one of the jokes that I was and get rid of Hitler and avoid the genocide of, what happens in the 1930s. Well, where are your refugee bases? Where are all these people that they wish that they can, get rid of Hitler and Nazis? It's happening now. That's a genocide. Why aren't you doing anything? Campaign is doing a massive, massive amount, and we're putting a lot of pressure, and we're gaining ground. We're winning on the BDS, we're winning on the public and Palestinian. I look at the suffering and the killing back home, and I'm like, we're not doing enough. There should be something else that we can do. We should be, sitting outside Downing Street, camping there just to say, hold on, you need to do something, not just I am concerned, and we're encouraging everyone that we want to stay peaceful, but at the same time, we need to increase the level of intensity on the government to actually do something, not to come up with the excuse that, oh, we can't make judgment on the arms embargo until we decide, or we can be sure whether the weapons is used for defensive or offensive. Would you like to check if they're going to what, how you're going to determine this? This is the lousiest, most pathetic excuses that I've ever heard in my life. I think they believe that us as the population in the UK, we are so stupid uh, that they can say anything, and we're just like, oh yeah, you're doing your best. Oh, he's concerned. Oh, David Lam is going to solve it. They're sitting to negotiate. And what kind of negotiate? There is no negotiation. You can't be giving them arms and say, oh, you need to sit down and to negotiate. You're negotiating what? You're killing. You're supporting the killing. So you can't say that we are trying our best to get to a ceasefire. No, ceasefire is not enough. We need this entity dismantled. And if they don't want to live there as part of our society, integrate in a democratic one-state solution, they're happy to leave. They all got dual nationality. 500,000 of them already left, living in Portugal, living in Cyprus, and living in Europe. The rest of them all got double nationality. We're seeing the same soldiers who are in Gaza killing children are in front streets of the United States challenging our solidarity campaign. The same soldiers, and they are on the streets of London, standing up saying to us, you support the freedom fighter and the resistance of a massive illegal occupation, military occupation, that are ethnic cleansing my people and committing genocide.